My name is Erin. I am here with Jacob Slade. I am from 88.9, and we're super excited to talk to you, Jacob, about your third album. What an achievement! That's pretty great.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm super excited to share it, and it's definitely been um, a lot of time and a lot of work put into it to get to this point. So I'm very much looking forward to getting it out there.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely talk about all the hard work that you did and put into it. But first, I guess, talking about three albums from a local artist, especially such a young artist, I'm really impressed. Because it takes like a lot of time to be creative, and then also not only to be creative, but to put like an album together from, the first writings, the compositions, and all that to the finished product. So I would like to know, do you like square regular time to devote to your music, or are you like more of like a free flowing creator of sorts and it just happens that way?
Yeah, I think it definitely depends. I'm at least right now doing music full time and sort of go back and forth between working other jobs in combination with music and then taking periods to sort of have it be my full time job, passion, what I spend most of my time doing. So I think for me, it's like really always on the top of my mind. So I never necessarily um, like set specific time aside for it, but I do think that it definitely comes in waves. And when I sort of have an idea and start building on it, I can put together stuff really quickly sometimes, starting from an idea to like a semi finished demo or song. And then there'll be like some periods where, it just is not feeling like it's there as much. And I think that's similar for a lot of people and a lot of artists of any sort, that it just kind of comes and goes, and it's hard to force creativity sometimes. But I definitely think within like writing and playing music, like I can enjoy and have it be more relaxing to just sit and play as opposed to sit and really try to write something. So it's kind of all over the place. I think it depends song to song, but I would say more so free flowing than anything like specifically set aside.
Okay. Because I know a lot of folks need to be disciplined in order to like keep the momentum going, but it's nice that you can kind of just like do your thing. Yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, I was talking to you a little bit before we sat down and you were mentioning, how you put everything together all by yourself, which I think is cool, but we'll get to that in a moment. I wanted to talk about the album itself. Soft spoken is the title. Is this a characteristic of yourself? Are you describing you or are you describing somebody else that you know?
It's definitely describing myself, I think. I feel like a lot of the time I write from not always like a first person perspective, but often like writing through the lens of a character that sort of personifies me, or my personality, I suppose. So I definitely think it is an album that is kind of the culmination of growing up, and now I'm 25 now, so I've sort of been going through that like after college transitional phase where you're sort of like kind of in the in between of being an adult and still like feeling like a kid and not feeling like super disconnected from that part of your life. And so I think soft spoken kind of to me signifies just in the past like my inability to express exactly how I feel or stand up for myself in certain situations. And um, I think that music has always been an outlet for me to do that and to be able to be more honest about how I feel about a lot of things than I am otherwise. So I think that the title of the album um, sort of relates to that for me, and kind of just like a lifelong culmination of a lot of different feelings and just stuff I'm figuring out as life goes on.
Okay. So would you say that that is like the main theme swirling around this album? Like is that kind of like riffing off of other albums that you've released before too, or is it like a fresh idea for you?
Yeah, I think I would say if there was one main theme, it probably would be that. Um, I think that like along with that, I often write a lot about just like the idea of time and sort of how I experience time and um just like all of the questions that I think like most humans have about the passing of time and sort of like what does it all mean and I think that is definitely an extension of themes that I've written a lot about before and um, one that like when I sit down to write song lyrics kind of just resurfaces without even super consciously like thinking a whole lot about it. So I definitely think that like it's not an entirely new idea and feels similar to themes I've explored in the past, but maybe just a more like concise or direct way. With the album being titled that and having a song titled that, I think it's possibly more direct way of um, exploring that.
Okay, I gotcha. Cool, cool. And while you were writing these songs, exploring like core element of yourself, like were you like listening to or reading or watching anything to kind of like draw this character development of yourself out even more? Or do you kind of like to take a more clean approach when you write songs and not be influenced by anything?
It's a good question. I mean, I'm always listening to stuff for sure. Um, I think that like there's not necessarily any um, artist that like directly influenced like thematically what the album is, but I think in terms of sound, I definitely like wanted to explore that sort of like pop acoustic or pop folk sort of sound with artists like Noah Kahn or Richie Mitch and the Coal Miners or Adam Melker, a whole number of other artists. And that wave kind of feels like it's been coming recently, and I've definitely been super inspired by that sound, and definitely in terms of like the instrumentation on the album, I took a lot of influence from that. I think like just generally or in the past, like looking more thematically at it, I'm really influenced by artists like Father John Misty or Bon Iver, or like even older like Pink Floyd that often will take just a lot of very general ideas about, you know, the passing of time in society and just sort of all this like different stuff and social commentary and just thoughts on a lot of different stuff and turn that into um, just cool songs and songs that flow really well and songs that make you think. So I think um, I definitely have always taken influence from those artists where kind of you have a different experience when you're just sort of casually listening versus when you like sit down and really listen to the lyrics and I just like when there's kind of like a lot to dig into there, like the songs sound good but also if you're in the mood to really listen you can kind of get something else out of it too.
Yeah, a little substance, right?
Mm.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, going back to Pink Floyd, yeah.
Yeah, a lot
That's
of
definitely a
substance.
lot of substance there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, why choose to record this album on your own? Was it like practical reasons or was it more like you wanted to explore your artistic side in like a more of like a engineer producer kind of way? Like I think a lot of home recording, it takes a lot of effort and care. So it can be a lot of work and can be a little daunting. So what made you choose to do this album fully at home?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a combination of both. Like if it, if it was free, like to go sit down in a super nice studio and spend all the time with all the equipment, at my expense, like it'd be hard for me to say that I would turn something like that down. Um, but with that being said, I think that I've just always been like kind of stubborn with a lot of stuff, and I'm always just like I want to learn how to do it and like be self-sufficient with it. And that's kind of how it's always been for me, like with playing music and recording music since I started too. Is I sort of chose to go the more self-taught route, and I think over time I have gained like an appreciation of uh, sort of like getting a good, like well-produced sound that's like pleasant to listen to, but also um, something that has like some aspects of that lo-fi sound where you can hear like some creaks on the guitar or like maybe like a squeaky floorboard or something. Like I kind of like when artists leave that in there, and for me it sort of gives it more of a homey feel, which kind of fits with that like acoustic folk sound. So I do really like aspects of home recording too, and um I did get a lot of help from my good friend Austin Wood, who is the songwriter behind Blacktop Music as well, and has played bass with me for a long time. And he is super, super talented, and has a much wider skill set than me when it comes to home recording and mixing. So he helped out with a good couple songs on the record too, and um, listened to countless mixes as well. So although it was like at home and done by myself, I definitely got a lot of assistance just listening to mixes and having input from other people or having other people come and record a part here and there. So
Mhm.
good to just have a circle of people who are willing to collaborate and who really enjoy collaboration as well.
Yeah, that's great. It's always good when you're recording to get fresh ears on something, especially if you're like, quote unquote, a solo artist, because oftentimes, you sit there and you're the main writer and it just takes another creative brain to say, well, there should be a guitar part here or there should be horns here or something like, and then yeah, you start kind of reimagining what your song
Mhm.
could be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really hard to like when you've listened to a mix like 100 times, it's like nearly impossible to have any sort of like objective thoughts on it. You're
Mhm.
just like this sort of is just sounding like I have no idea what it even sounds like anymore. Like I just need someone
Yeah.
else to listen and like give me some input on it. So yeah, to your point, I completely agree.
Yeah, it can be difficult to listen to one song over and over and over, but you gotta try the different speakers, different environments, and all that, and sometimes that helps. But yeah, you've got
Definitely.
your
Yeah.
yeah, you've got your big show coming up at the Back Room Colectivo. I wanted to talk about how that venue soon will not be part of the venue scene here in Milwaukee. So what does it mean for you in particular to play one of the Back Room's final shows?
Yeah, I think it's really cool. The back room, like, gosh, I think this will be like the sixth show I've played there with the combination of playing guitar with Social Sig and a couple shows for my project. But I think it's just been really cool to see, like, since more local bands started playing shows there, just to see it like expand into this total hub for um, local music, and there's just been so many local shows there in like the last year and a half. So I think it will be a cool like at least for me feel like a cool kind of send off to a place that has been um, very gracious to local artists. I think it's cool that Pabst Theater Group in general and um, the back room more specifically has just given a lot of chances to local artists to have a big platform to share their music and to host album release shows and um, also just joining touring artists in supporting roles too. I think it's just been really cool to see a bigger venue and a well-known venue like that be so open to local music and just trust that local music is real here and there's a really cool scene. And so yeah, I think it'll be a cool send off. Um, cool to have a fun show before it moves on and kind of that chapter is closed for now. But yeah, definitely one of my favorite venues to play, and it'll be cool to do it one more time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's so nice having venues that are ultra supportive, but yeah, it's good to know there's still going to be supportive venues throughout the city, and this one at least you can look back on as like a special place and have this last special memory with it.
Yeah,
So one
definitely.
final one final question for you. What can we expect with the show on the 14th? What's the full lineup? What are the details? Are you planning anything fun for the release of Soft Spoken?
Yeah, so I'm gonna be joined on the bill by Sleepy Gaucho, who is local to Milwaukee. Um, they are always awesome, put on super cool live show. And then also joined by an artist Smushy out of Chicago. They're someone who I've actually been listening to for a while. That I found, I think, just through like recommended listening on Spotify, and who I've been following and really enjoying for a year or two now. And we've been in contact trying to get a show together a couple different times, and stuff fell through, and it never worked out until now. So I'm really looking forward to them joining the bill as well. And in terms of our set, we're doing a five-piece lineup with uh, adding keys, rhythm guitar, bass, and drums. Um, and yeah, we're gonna try to play most of the stuff off of the new record, and definitely a good chunk of older stuff as well. So I think we're gonna definitely play songs like similar to how they sound recorded, but also I always love to leave room for improvisation and expanding songs into kind of jamming out and um, stuff like that. So
Mhm.
um, no like big surprises. Just think it's going to be a really good night of music, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Cool. Well, okay, where can people find Soft Spoken? Can they find copies at the show? Can they find it on your Bandcamp? Where is Soft Spoken going to be available?
Yeah, it'll be available, not in physical copy right now. I would love to press vinyls if I could find a way to do that eventually, but yeah, it'll be out on all digital distribution platforms, so Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Bandcamp for sure is another great one that I don't promote enough, and I would definitely love to start pushing Bandcamp more. So yeah, it'll be out digitally, pretty much wherever you listen to music. And I always tell people like if there's a platform you listen and it's not on there, like let me know and I'll I'll figure out how to get it on there. So,
Cool.
but yeah, it'll be out pretty much everywhere you can find music.
All right. Well, look for Soft Spoken on the 13th and look for Jacob Slade and his band on the 14th. That's Saturday at the Back Room Colectivo playing with Sleepy Gaucho and Smushy. And the doors are at 7. Show starts at 8, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Well, thank you, Jacob. Appreciate you taking time to talk with me. Jacob Slade, Milwaukee musician. Look for the new album Soft Spoken out and his show coming up at the Back Room at Colectivo.